Frank Ranks Week 36. We have 11 comics to talk about. We have Marvel, we have DC. What's going to be up on top this week? Let's find out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to jump right into number 11. I can't believe this is week 35, 36 already. Whew. Time just flies. Time just flies. All right, and the first one we have at number 11 at the bottom of the list is no surprise to anyone. It's Marvel. And that is Dr. Aphra, number 4. This is by Cherish Chen. We have Chewbacca and Black Kashyyyk or whatever, Kashant. I forgot how to say his name. And anyway, he's a bounty hunter, Wookiee. And the reason this is bottom of the list is she still, the writer, Cherish Chen, still has not been able to figure out how to start linking some of these books together. Literally, there's just one off, but there still has to be a through line B story. Like even back in the day, in the 70s and 80s, they still had one-offs, but there was still some, like a B story through line that kept you coming back. Here, she doesn't have any of that. And here we have Dr. Aphra, who was supposed to be the Indiana Jones and the Lara Croft of the Star Wars universe, and she's not doing any of that. Originally I liked it because I thought we were getting to that point. No, it's getting further away from what the character is at her base. And originally she was with Luke, and now was with Han, and now she's with Chewie, or waiting for Princess Leia to come up in the back end here. And the art's generally good. They're doing some redesigns with the glasses, with the goggles and stuff like that. But this is about her and Chewie being bodyguards, being security for a prince who is going through a coronation. That is not this character. And the reason that she's there is because Black Krishant, or whatever his name is, she calls him Shanti or whatever, that she knows him well. But it's just the two of them doing all of security. We get a good battle between Chewie and the bounty hunter, but that's it. That's it. It's totally outside of what the realm of this character is. She's not a security person. She's not even a fighter. It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. And if she was a consultant, then there should be a head of security there and a security force that, she's there because of the New Republic. I guess that would make sense. But again, why would you even come up with that idea when she's supposed to be going after like relics and stuff? She hasn't. Every relic that she's gotten back, she's literally just handed off. There's nothing. There's literally nothing to what she's writing. And again, I thought we were building towards something. She was like doing a couple of one-offs, and then we were going to go, into, some longer stories, or at least a B story. But nothing's appeared, and we're on issue 4 already. So, a little disappointing. I thought she was a good pick, but apparently not. Now we need a new writer. And we're going to go into number 10, and people are going to be surprised at this. This is an independent book, and that is Escape. I know a lot of people really like Escape. This is I guess the writer, his grandfather was in World War II or whatever else, and finally told a story, and he wants to tell that story, which I totally get. I did a Holocaust biography as well. So he wanted to tell this story. I think it was Rick Remender, and I read it digitally, as you can see, so there's nothing to refer to. And the problem is that he is under some delusion that if he uses animals, people could gravitate towards it easier. And I'm like, No, no, not who told you that. That is wrong. uh, Especially when it comes to my taste, I don't gravitate towards something that has animals replacing humans. I don't feel any more close to animals than I do humans. No. So it's very strange to me that I'm trying to see the human in the animal, which is why I don't like this book. I would have preferred, seeing humans here. So we have dogs kissing and, having a relationship, and she's talking about the fact that, we need to make money, and I have to sell my plane so we can do a family. So it's all basically a lead up into the next section of the War Piece. And I'm reading it digitally because there's no way I'm buying this book. But a lot of people really like it, so great. But I'm not one of them. I think it's extremely average, and I think it could have been told a lot better. Okay, number 9, and again, this is a conundrum to me. I believe this is an Image book, so it's independent, and that is Lazarus Fallen. I believe this is issue 4. And I'm a big fan of Greg Rucka. I think he's great, but I have no idea why this has resurfaced, why he's revisiting these characters that have been dormant for at least 5 years. And for some reason, it would already ended. The story already ended with Forever and Infinity, which is her clone, younger clone, leaving this family because she's like super powered. She's their enforcer. So she's a fighter and she can heal and all this stuff. And she was basically she was grown. And the same thing with Infinity, which is her, younger clone. So when one dies, they have another one ready to go. But anyway, they escaped together, and that was the end. It was done. It was over. But now 5 years later, he's like, well, what happened to both of them? I'm like, why? So now he's basically picked up right where he left off. So if you didn't read any of them before, you have no idea what's going on. And the character moments are good. They're being chased by another family's Lazarus, which is another superhuman, clone or whatever, grown person, and named Sonia. Meanwhile, her own family's still looking for her as well, and yeah, so they're not really getting anywhere. They're with some kind of underground force, and they're trying to move basically, and they don't know if they can move because they're being tracked and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, she's like training in Infinity at the same time, who is having sex, and she's like, I've never had sex. I don't even know. I thought that was interesting. She talks to the other guy, and the other guy's like, have you ever had sex? And she's like, no. And he's like, I thought you were with this other guy. And he's like, no, he kissed me, but that was it. So her clone has more sexual experience than she does. So it's pretty interesting. And it's well written. It's well. But I have no idea. There was no action in this one at all, and it just let's get it moving, man. We're on issue 4 with this one already. Let's get it moving. Because I have no idea what your story you're trying to tell. So because they have to escape again. It's a rehash of the last one. So anyway, I hope it gets better. Again, I like the characters. I like Greg Rucka's writing, but I'm confused about why this even exists. All right, moving on to the next independent book, and that is number 8. And this is by my buddy Mark Spears. This is Mark Spears' Monsters. And yeah, he and I did this card game together that's in China right now getting produced. So we're going to see this out in stores probably in the next 6 months. I'm going through major problems getting all the files ready. I paid to get the files ready, and now they want changes. Oh, it's become a thing. But anyway, this is still in. I haven't locked anything yet because we're still in production mode. So if you'd like a copy of it, it has all of Mark's artwork in it, all across the board. So if you're a fan of his artwork, you should definitely pick this up. I believe there's a link in the description below. If not, I'll put that in there. But it's lots of fun. It's an area controlled deck builder game, so anybody can pick it up. It's pretty neat. But anyway, in fact, we have this piece actually in the game as well. So this is number 7. I think he's going beyond 8, but 8 was the only thing I knew he was going towards. But the story doesn't look like it has any end in sight. So we had a fight between the Wolfman and the Slayer, and the Slayer's in a standoff with the cops, and somebody shoots, but I'm not sure who. It looks like one of the cops shot, but I don't know what happened from there. We have the superhero in the last issue dropped a kid off. He was flying and dropped the kid off. It was holding him up and just dropped him. So the kid's dead. So he killed one of the kids. When we find out that he's like a membot from like $6 Million Man, like the face comes off, which I guess was done in Westworld back in the day with the old Brenner one. But anyway, so he has a bunch of different stuff going on, and then we have. I didn't see the Bride in this one. Bride was in the last one. She got a buzz cut. She has like a mohawk now. But anyway, so we have the Wolfman going to talk to Dracula, and they're having a conversation about the Slayer and stuff like that, and Frankenstein comes in. But anyway, and I like that we saw the brides in this one, but there's a lot of different storylines, and nothing looks like it's closing up anytime soon. But one thing's for sure, if you like his artwork is not even on the cover, it's all throughout the thing. So definitely check that if you like his artwork. And Mark's a great guy. All right, so going on to number 7, and that is Hyde Street by Jeff Johns. Artwork in here is really good, and it's almost like a Twilight Zone type of thing. They are in purgatory, and they have to collect 10,000 souls for them to escape purgatory. So they're hunters, basically, inside. So when people accidentally make their way there, they have the ability of taking their soul. So that's how the story is, and we have Mr. X-Ray, so it's like the X-ray glasses that were from like the 70s type of ads. And then we had Pranky, who looks like he's basically a young Boy Scout. He's got like a Boy Scout thing, but he ended up taking one of his masks, Mr. X-Ray's masks, that was like a werewolf, and now it's stuck to him, and he's become a werewolf. And then I guess we've never seen Mr. X-Ray without the glasses, and he takes the glasses off of him to put it onto Pranky. So he's like literally doing this with his eyes. So we can't see it. He's not going against the wall and stuff like that. But anyway, this is more about Dr. Ego, and Dr. Ego is a plastic surgeon, and we got to see 2 of his mistakes, like a liposuction mistake, who now became a nurse, and the other one, they've done so much surgery on her face that she just has a constant smile. But anyway, so it's a little bit horror-ish. But yeah, so this is more of a filler issue about Dr. Ego. It didn't progress the story along that much, which is a little bit why it's a little bit lower on my list. All right, so before we go into the final 6, remember to give me a like, give me a subscribe if you can. If you can, ring that bell, ding, ding. And share this video out there so people can see what's out in Marvel and DC and independent comics, which eventually these things might make its way to the screen. You never know. And that might be why Greg Rucka decided to revisit. Maybe he's got a deal coming up with TV with one of the streamers, and they needed some more stories. That's the only thing I think of. Also, remember, too, that I'm a writer myself, so you can check out my stuff on Amazon. Just type my name in. There's a link in the description below. You can see my 4-novel quadrilogy with my epic sci-fi called Destiny Aurora. It was made into a board game, an RPG, a graphic novel. It's on Audible as well. And it is like a culmination of Star Wars, Star Trek, and Guardians of the Galaxies kind of all lumped together. So if you like those kind of epic space stuff with an eclectic crew and stuff like that, I think you'll really like this as well. There's also my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, The Iron Witch. So if you like fantasy, like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings, you're going to love that one as well. We have magic, we have witches, we have dragons, you're riding on stuff. It's really cool. I have a couple of twists and turns in there as well. And then if you did jump into Fairy Tales of Terror, my graphic novel with Psycho Cinderella and Killer Captain Hook and Badass Tiger Lily, that we just ended the Kickstarter on that. We were extremely successful, probably more successful than I thought we were going to be. We got over to $11,500, so I was very happy with that. So we are working diligently on getting that fulfilled so I can move on to issue 2. I started writing issue 2 last night. Good stuff. I'm going to go very, very dark with it. But if you did support, I really appreciate it. I will be running late pledge in a few weeks, so watch out for that. All right, so let's jump into, there's also a link in the description below if you want to check out what it looks like. All right, so number 6, another independent, another Image book, and that is Void Rivals by Kirkman, who did Walking Dead. And this was originally started as like an enemy mine type of thing, where we had two people from different alien races marooned because they got into a battle and both of their ships crashed. They put the ships together to make one ship and then went back home, but they realized they were really the same species and not different species, and they lived on this ring, and the ring was divided into two pieces, and they were always kept apart. And then they realized that there was unity. If they became united, then this thing was going to come out of, that was the prophecy anyway, or that was the history, that this thing was going to come out of this wormhole that's in the middle of the ring, and they didn't believe it, and then they decided to go for it because Zerta, who is a Transformer, who is half destroyed, is also Transformers in this. There's also people from Cobra La, from G.I. Joe in this. So it's part of the Energon universe. But anyway, a hand starts coming out, and then like, oh shit, the whole thing about Unity was correct, and they all run away. That's basically the issue. And I can give a shit about the whole Scutzoid thing. I wish they'd nixed that character completely. But I'm losing interest, even with everything that's going on. He's going on for 2 years for the same story. I mean, how long can we read the same story? So I'm about to give up on it. So let's, hopefully he closes it up. If not, then, yeah, it's going to be a give or take for me, depending. All right, and now number 5. We're finally getting back into the big 2, and this is DC. This is Green Lantern number 27 by my buddy Jeremy Adams, and this is the continuing story of this whole Starbreaker thing, but it's also culminating within Green Lantern Corps, of which I'm not reading, so I'm only getting half the story. But this is about them trying to reignite the power batteries, because everything's getting its own little power battery from the stuff that nobody knows about, like the gray one, which is Sorrow. There's a brown one now. I forgot what that was even called, like Disgust or something like that. But the main ones, he needs to, and by I say he, John Stewart. I'm a big fan of John Stewart, especially from the cartoon. But he's an underutilized character as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, he decides he's going to sacrifice himself to ignite the power batteries, and he lets out all of the people in the science cells, which were all the other ring bearers from all the different other spectrums. But when he sacrifices himself, like somehow he goes into the power battery and ignites it. Not sure how. But when he does, all the other power batteries from all the different emotional spectrum all go also, which is like rage and greed and love and fear and all this stuff. How does he ignite them all? I don't understand. He's not even a White Lantern. Like, I can understand if Rayner did it because he's a White Lantern. He could ignite them all. But instead, John, who is just will, ignites them. I'm very confused by how that happened. Because I would have thought that, okay, he was going to make each person sacrifice, each part of the group sacrifice someone to ignite it. So, like, Atrocitus would have gone in and do the rage, and Sinestro and stuff like that, or whoever they would have picked. But that would have made more sense, and it would have made it a little bit more dramatic, where he was trying to get them to sacrifice someone to be a volunteer. I think that would have been a little bit better storyline than him just igniting them all with one sacrifice. I think that would have been a little bit better. It would have made more sense. I was very confused by how this works. But anyway, that's basically the storyline here. And I guess I'm going to miss the ending of it because the last one takes place in Green Lantern Corps. So, oh well. All right, moving on to number 4. And this is an independent. And this one, you're going to be very surprised because this is usually my number 1 and it's my number 4. So, and we have, just FYI, we have another independent and we have a Marvel and a DC. So, just for the last 3. So let's see what's what. But anyway, this is number 4, and that is Space Ghost by David Pepose. And normally this is like my number 1. However, I was not enamored with this particular issue. This was about a Viking. So it takes place in the past with a Viking, and he gets frozen. So now in the future, so this is not a different dimension or anything like that because it's obvious that it's our past if it is a Viking. So he's in the future. He gets, they find him encased, and they bring him to Contra, which is the grandfather to the 2 kids, and he thaws them out, and the guy just goes crazy. He starts talking about the Time Masters or whatever else. We're never introduced to anything that has to do with them, so I don't even know what that's all about. And Contra does not recognize his own grandchildren that simply have a mask on, especially with the monkey there. I found that pretty stupid. If he had recognized them and just not said anything or pretended, that would have made more sense to me. Where he was giving them their space and everything like that. But I would have preferred him know rather than just being stupid. I know it's a comic and Superman can just put sunglasses, glasses on and he's a different person. But I think this was just a little bit too far out there for us to, okay, a little mask and you don't recognize your own grandkids. And they came up with like code names for themselves and stuff like that. Ghost Boy or whatever else. It was weird. The code names are weird. But anyway, they end up fighting this Viking throughout the entire issue, and finally they put him somewhere where he can't bother anybody. But he actually breaks the armbands. I wonder if, I guess he put them back together. But anyway, so it was only an average issue for, normally it's way above average, and this one is just, to me, it was just average. All right, jumping into number 3, and that's an independent. I go to show you something, and that is Viking Moon. So we have 2 Vikings in a row. And this is Vikings meet Wolfen. So the Vikings land on America. They don't really say where, but they end up fighting American Indians. So we have this big battle between them and the American Indians, and there's like losses on both sides. And then suddenly the werewolves show up, and the Indians go, "We out of here! We out of here, Kimosabe! We're gone!" And so they leave, and then they end up fighting the wolves, but we don't know what happens at that point. But when I say Wolfen, it's got this, the ears are definitely like Wolfen. So because I think that's the only one that has the big long ears. And I could be wrong on the name of the movie, but there was only one that I saw that has the wolves with the big long ears. But anyway, so I enjoyed it. I thought that the look and feel was good, and I'm waiting to see what we do with the next issue. I don't really know where they're going with it, but I hope that they end up getting a little bit of a bigger story than just a battle with werewolves. But so far, so good. It's definitely enticing first issue. Okay, going into number 2. Remember, we only have a Marvel and DC left. All right, number 2. We actually have Marvel. Look how high Marvel is on the list this week. And that is Emma Frost, the White Queen. Number 4, there's only one issue left of this. This has been a really great series so far. And this is, I forgot the woman's name that does this. Chu. I forgot her first name. But anyway, so this is like a throwback to the 90s. And I think that's why it's pretty good. Because it has that 90s imprint on it. But anyway, she's being chased throughout. She's trying to figure out who the mole is. But meanwhile, the Black Queen is trying to mess her up. Sebastian Shaw is trying to mess her up. And stuff like that. And we have this beginning scene where she's talking to a homeless person. I don't even know why that was in there. It didn't do anything for the story. But anyway, then she goes into the casino, which is where she's supposed to go. And this mutant gives her a hard time. But she finally meets the person that's running it. And she tells her... and I think she's in Vegas. She's in Vegas in a thing. So she's been all over the place. She was in Europe, and now she's in Vegas. And she tells her that Noor is the Leak, which is her right-hand person. But she doesn't seem very surprised by that. But I guess she doesn't have time because she gets drugged. And why she isn't killed right there, I guess you have to press your... it's a comic, so it's kind of like Batman, where they a million times have the ability of killing him and never do. And instead, they throw her into a Sentinel graveyard, which was very cool. So the Sentinels start waking up because it recognizes a mutant, and therefore it has to kill the mutant. So they're like in pieces and stuff like that, but they're firing out of their hands. She's trying to jump out of the way. It's a big battle. Really, really good stuff. The look and feel of that whole scene was great. And then she's about to get killed, and this motorcycle comes up, smashes the Sentinel head or whatever else, and we find out that it's Mystique. And so Mystique saves her because they got to go after Sebastian Shaw together. She transforms into Sebastian Shaw just to have the conversation, which I thought was really cool. But anyway, they're teaming up to go after the thing. I thought that was really cool. It's a really good issue. Has some holes, but for the most part, really, really good stuff, I gotta say. Amy Chu? I think it's maybe Amy Chu. But anyway, so now we're going on to number 1. I already know what it is. You already know it's a DC book. One of the first times that DC has popped up as number 1. And that is Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson. Hayden Sherman on art. I hate Hayden Sherman's art on this. I absolutely hate it. Some people are saying, oh, it's growing on me. Oh, it's perfect for this. I do not agree. We had a few issues back. We had another very realistic styled artist come in, and it was phenomenal, especially when you're doing it in Greek mythology. It just was great. I think Rucka was the person that created Ferdinand, which is a Minotaur. But anyway, she was in this maze looking for another Amazonian, which she ends up finding, named Io. But anyway, she ends up fighting against Clea, and in this case, Clea is an Atlantean. But anyway, and she's there with Ferdinand, which is the Minotaur. She is looking for a siren, so she makes a portal and she gets everybody out. And she continues her fight with Clea, and she gets the trident of Poseidon. She's like, how are you wielding this? And she's fighting all these mermen and all this other stuff. Really good stuff. And then, and I don't know why Hayden Sherman gave Clea these, like, platform shoes that look incredibly stupid. I don't know why he did that. But it looks retarded. But anyway, they start fighting, and she ends up beating Clea, and she says, I'm going to give you a second chance. I'm going to give you a second lease on life, and I'm going to assume that you're not an evil person. And she makes a whirlpool, and she says, you can go back to Atlantis. And I thought that was Kelly. There are certain writers, like I read all of Kelly Thompson's Miss Marvel, and it was very mid. She got 50 issues out of it, and I think that's just because they were throwing the character a bone based on the $1 billion it made in the movies. But it was always very mid. Okay, there was nothing really great about it. It was never a great book. I just read it because I like Captain Marvel. But she was not a great writer on it. Some of the issues were incredibly bad. But she's clicked with this. And I wish she was writing the main title so we could see Wonder Woman as she normally is supposed to be, because Tom King is fucking that up to no extent. Even the people that were praising that are saying that's shit now. So he needs to jump off that book, and she needs to go on that because she gets Diana. She understands it. And I think that's the big thing, is that Tom King does not understand Diana, and Kelly Thompson does. Like Alex Segura, he gets Dick Tracy that cannot get Star Wars. So she didn't really get Captain Marvel, but she gets Wonder Woman. And when you click like that, and the same thing with David Pepose with Space Ghost, when you click like that, you end up getting a higher quality product out of the writer. And that's how I feel about Absolute Wonder Woman. But anyway, so they end up going through the portal, but she stays behind. I guess she goes through the whirlpool with Clea. But everybody else goes through the portal. But when Io goes through, she poofs away. They don't know if she just disintegrates or whatever, but she ends up in Themyscira, where she announces to Hippolyta that her daughter's alive. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then we see Dr. Poison and, God, I can't remember the villain, the female villain, something with a C. But anyway, I can't. She's like a corporate. She's almost like a Lex Luthor to Wonder Woman. But anyway, so we go through this almost like an Arkham Asylum type situation of all these prisons, and we end up with a Zatanna that has like the big mask on her face, like a Hannibal Lecter type mask. I thought that was pretty cool, man. So we'll see where this goes. Really, really good stuff. If you're a fan of Wonder Woman, don't get the main title. Get this instead, because this is more like Wonder Woman than the main title is, even though this is taking some liberties, of course. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can. Subscribe, ring that bell, and share this video out there. Check out my stuff on Amazon. Again, just type my name in or link in the description below. And Fairy Tales of Terror. If you missed it, then I will be doing a late pledge, so look out for that. But you can check out the link below if you want to see what it looks like. And everybody who supported, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for making it successful. I think you're going to love it. And I am really going to go balls to the wall with the second issue. So just FYI. All right. Have a great week, everybody. And I'll see you in the next one.